The Florida Foreign Trade Association continues its tradition and proudly salutes the pioneers of foreign trade. Pioneers who've made a measured impact on aviation, on shipping, and the moving of freight by air, by sea, and over the road. This year, also including some of those whose businesses were the catalyst for the growth of the industry. People who created the demand for service that made it all come together. Individuals who have made their homes here and who've been associated with helping Miami grow and reach into Latin America.
My father was one of the pioneers in the Port of Miami, developing the Port of Miami. And he stayed in that business throughout his career.
Ramon Espino was truly a leader in the shipping industry and a pioneer in the international trade business in Miami.
He wouldn't believe it how this business has grown, but he would be very, very, very happy to see that happen because he believed in the business and he enjoyed his work, enjoyed his friends very, very much.
He was also a great humanitarian, helping earthquake victims, raising money, and giving of his time and efforts, winning new friends and gaining recognition.
He had friends everywhere, everywhere. Through his job and through his golf and through his, when he tried to help the communities down there to improve or when they had a natural disaster. We feel very, very proud of him, and we are very, very thankful to all his friends and everybody for honoring him this way, and we feel he deserves it.
For the thousands of people he has helped, and for moving the industry in Miami to greater heights, we proudly induct Ramon Espino into the Hall of Fame.
My father got started in business in the 50s. He started working for high-grade food products in the meat business, and he had a route truck, and he would go out and deliver different assortment of deli goods to delicatessens, things like that, in restaurants. After a certain amount of time, he wanted to expand the business, and he went out on his own. He had a little Econoline truck. I got out of the service in 1965, and my dad asked me what I was going to do, what my plans were. I really had none. So he said, well, why don't you come in with me? He said, there's really not enough for both of us, but we'll do something and make it happen. We grew from the poultry into some frozen food items, and we started to do a little export. Our first export account was the Kentucky Fried Chicken in Grand Cayman. At that time, we used to have to ship everything over to Hyde Shipping on the Miami River, and it was all break bulk.
It's safe to say that Don Greene was no chicken when it came to expanding his business. And today, Steve Greene runs Don Greene Poultry, which has a customer base of retail markets, fast food restaurants, and domestic and overseas distributors.
I'm sure he would have been very, very proud to see all this. And I'm sure he's looking down and he knows what's happening today.
It is with great pleasure that the Florida Foreign Trade Association inducts Don Greene into their Hall of Fame. Elpidio Nuñez Ojeda came to Miami, like so many others seeking freedom. In 1961, with only $2,500, he started Northwestern Meats.
We started bringing some meat by plane from Guatemala to Miami. At that time, we started selling cheap and good meat the way the Cubans like. It's a grass feed, and we started bringing that for Taca, Aviateca. That's our start importing.
And today, his business is ranked 39th of the largest 500 Hispanic businesses in the United States. He has met with prime ministers and presidents.
I thank everybody in the industry. I thank the broker, the shipper, the workers in the Port of Miami too, and all the people that are involved in this business. I have been very successful, not because of me, it's because of the way we have been helped with all these people.
We are proud to add his name to the pioneers of this industry and welcome him into the Hall of Fame. As a native Tennessean, Howard Reeder came to Miami in the early 20s. He graduated from Miami High and the University of Florida.
When he came out of college, he went to work in the accounting department of the News, and I think a little while under a green visor looking at ledger sheets, he realized this was not a career that he wanted to spend a lot of time with, and he had an uncle at the time that was building ships up in Stuart, Florida. So he joined him in building a tugboat for the now used to be Belcher Oil Company. And it was on the completion of that he left there and came back, and he went to work for a fellow that ran a steamship company. His name was Carl Sawyer.
He decided there was business in handling customs and took the broker's exam. He was a special kind of guy, a friend to everyone. And everyone called him Howard.
He was Howard from the stevedore on the dock to the district director of U.S. Customs. He was well known and well liked. He was a gentleman that we were continually reminded as being one of the people who knew what they were doing, was honest with you, and whatever he told you was going to be the truth.
His primary product at that time that he dealt with were bananas. Banana Supply was the name of the company, now called Chiquita, which is still a major customer of ours. And he would unload those ships into trucks for distribution around southeast United States.
This was my father's plan, for us to provide him a nice retirement, and it didn't last a long time for him, but it has lasted for my mother, and it's something that we're proud that it continues on.
We are proud to induct Howard Reeder into the Hall of Fame. Bill was a true pioneer, one whose adventurous spirit typified the aviation and cargo industry in the early years. His accomplishments are legendary.
Well, bringing air cargo into Miami in the 1950s and 60s, of course, was a totally different thing than it is now. I think the main thing you would use as your line of demarcation was the type of aircraft that were flown. I know in my first airline, I was flying DC-6 passenger planes, but our cargo planes were twin-engine C-46s that carried 12,000 pounds of cargo. That was our main cargo workhorse. And then we evolved, and we had DC-6 cargo planes, and we had Lockheed Electra cargo planes. You saw them just gradually going up the line until we finally wound up with new state-of-the-art, fresh from the factory, Boeing 757 freighters. But it was a long haul from C-46s to 757 freighters.
Bill knew everyone, and everyone knew Bill throughout the business as someone who could get the job done.
These are all guys that I started to say that I grew up with. I didn't really grow up with them literally, but I grew up with them in the business sense. They were my customers, they were my competitors, they were my friends. So it's nice to be in this group of people that you know so well from our years together at Miami International Airport.
Bill, it's a great pleasure for the association to see your legacy continued as you join the Hall of Fame.
My career, I graduated in Belém Jesuit School in 1947, and I started working with my father in 1948, the next year. And that was it. 3 or 4 years later, I was executive vice president of the company. I don't know if it was because my father loved me too much or because I really deserve it. At the end of '59, I was put in prison by Castro. One day, they just let me go. And I came here, just with a shirt, my pants, my underwear. That's it, nothing more.
You can't even talk about foreign trade in Miami without mentioning the de Tuya name and our friend Oscar de Tuya Jr.
I never, in my wildest dream, thought that I knew it was going to grow, but I could never believe that it was going to be what it is today.
He became an integral part of the industry from the very beginning and was president of the Florida Customs Brokers and Forwarders Association. He remained a director for many years.
I feel very good, and it makes me very happy, and my family especially. And to me, it's like a reward through me to my father, who is the one that taught me how to do it, when to do it, how. It makes me very happy.
Oscar, for all you've done and meant to so many in this room, and for all you have worked for in this industry, we induct you into the Hall of Fame. We congratulate tonight's winners for all they have done and for earning their place in history and on our monument, and for making the foreign trade industry in Miami what it is today.